And now from 1997, the lead singer of the FIXX. I was up in Redondo Beach, California, and they were playing a small, kind of a bar club called The Strand at the time, and caught up with Curnin, the lead singer, and he was very cool. Talked a lot about that era of music, and they were putting out a new album, in fact, called Elemental at that time. I'd seen him in concert a couple times, and he was a fun interview. Hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. I'll try and give you succinct answers.
All right.
Uneditable answers.
Right. Uneditable. Yeah. Just go yes. No. No, I'll use all that.
Yeah. Look out, we're crashing.
We won't hear me on the tape.
Yeah.
So if I ask you if you can just repeat the question somehow, or at least
Yeah. Sort of
if we
cap
talk
it
about a
off.
song, maybe.
On this side, we got a little more looking room on this side.
Your key light's better. Looking room for what? That look cool? All right.
Much better.
We're all set?
Uh-huh. Tape is roll like peas.
That's cool. Thanks. Okay. Let's start out with, could you just tell me about the new album you guys just released?
Yeah. The new album, Elemental, is a kind of celebration of our friendship and having spent the last 19 years together, writing, touring, and writing and touring can get pretty claustrophobic after a while. So we took a little break of 3 years, raised our children, and then we got back into the studio again and started writing. And here we are. Elemental is kind of the culmination of 3 years' work, more mature, going for the simple jugular.
Why did it? I thought it was more like. Am I in your shot?
Just your sheet.
Oh, sorry. It was like 7 years between your last studio album.
Yeah, it's been
Is that
7
right?
years since the last record. But
Was that by choice? Or?
Yeah, a lot of it was down to just lack of focus. We just lost sight of what we were trying to achieve, and the tail started to wag the dog. Business side of this industry can really devour you if you're not careful, and our mission is to stay together longer than any other band has ever stayed together, rock band. So we just got to stay in the game.
Has your sound changed over the years, especially from the big 80s time to this album?
Yeah, I think the sound has changed now. We're living in a different era. Back then we were using a lot of synth. I mean, we still do use a lot of synthesizers, but we've incorporated more guitars and an acoustic element to the band that kind of reflects the bedroom start of a song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're just moving with the times, but in our own fixed way.
Fixed way, I like that. I just wanted to make sure something. Okay. And now going back to the mid '80s when you guys were at your height, say when Reach the Beach was out and was hitting huge, and the next couple albums. What was the music scene like around? Were you based in England at that time?
Yeah, we were based.
All the huge British bands at that time.
Yeah, I mean, it was called the British Invasion. The early '80s, all these English bands started coming over. And I think it was, we're like the godfathers of the alternative movement. You had that starting, you had MTV was starting, so you had a lot more visual aspects to music than you'd ever had. And synthesizers obviously were playing a big part in the way the sound. But through all the kind of pop fluff, there were some bands who were taking what they were saying quite seriously. I mean, you have to look back at the political period in England, late 70s, even for people in America, there was a kind of a hopelessness going on. The 60s were a great period of change, and then the 70s kind of waned. And, living in England, we're looking at American nuclear missiles coming in, and so it was quite a political period for us. You could feel a revolution. It was either feel impotent and suffer from apathy, or get up and dance around, and so it wasn't too much of a partying thing. So a lot of bands went off and got a little fluffy towards the middle there. We kind of stuck to our course. After a while, we became quite a dark live band because we had to put ourselves into the public eye, not just through television. We had to go out and pay our dues in the clubs and the theaters and eventually the arenas, and now back to the clubs. Full cycle.
Yeah. During that time, was there I was in college at that time. There was Psychedelic Furs and FIXX and Flock of Seagulls and all those bands. Were all you guys around, or did you not know each other?
Yeah,
or?
Psychedelic Furs and the FIXX kind of crossed paths quite a lot in the early days back in London. Thompson Twins, Wang Chung, all these we played in the same club either the night before or the night after each other. And then we hooked up with the Police also. We toured extensively with them for the best part of a year and a half, and that was a great period. So, we were fairly close, but it's such a big country. You think people as being very close, but they're always one night or before or after each other,
Oh, that's cool. What does it feel like to be one of the kind of the early bands on MTV, and when MTV didn't really, no one knew what it was, and you were like, your videos were on
Yeah.
at that time and
Yeah.
breaking new ground.
Yeah, well, looking back, the effect that MTV had on the culture is incredible. Back then, we didn't know. It was just like, ooh, somebody wants a video from the song, and it was, you weren't really aware of the effect until now. You can see there are people that are under 30-year-old that know music from MTV, not from radio. And we're like the first of them, the MTV bands, and they're into all the little visual aspects of the things that we had in the songs, and they've been incorporated into the set. So, you know, I'm known for sort of using my hands a lot when I sing and talk, and they're still coming with me, you know.
I remember that one.
Yeah, they're still doing this. Yeah.
What do you think your band is best known for?
Well, obviously, you know, in sort of commercial sense, One Thing Leads to Another was our greatest hit. Saved by Zero was close second with fairly enigmatic meaning. People are still asking me, what does that mean, Saved by Zero? And I basically say you just can't fall from the floor. You know, so everything is up from a certain point in your life. Then we also had Red Skies and Stand or Fall, which were prior hits to those, which were much more radio-driven, rock kind of sounds. So we're known for that, and a slew of other things. Fair amount of racket going on back there.
Yeah, that's all right. It's not killing us. It's okay. Yeah. Could we just, we're going to tape a few parts of a couple songs tonight, too.
Okay.
Use that in our piece. Could
Great.
you lead me into a couple of songs?
Sure.
Let's start with One Thing Leads to Another.
Okay, well, One Thing Leads to Another is kind of still working for us in a great way live. It's I wrote the song in an aspect of, if you've got to be a damn good liar if you're going to be a politician, or it may be easy to just tell the truth. Because things have a way of building up and compounding, and problems compound. If you forget what you said 6 months ago, you're in trouble now. So it was kind of a little lead on that and how things just are cyclical in life.
Right. How about Saved by Zero?
Saved by Zero has become a sort of an anthem for the band. We play that at the end of the set. It's like kind of our little nothing blessing, a blessing of nothing. It's people bless themselves, really. Just take your own feelings of where your life is at and make the most of it. It's something we kind of pass on, and people pass it on to us.
What was Red Skies about? Is that like a political song?
Yeah, that was going back to, you know, again, the political period in the early 80s, late 70s. There were these Trident missiles being placed all around in Europe, and the Americans and the Russians were talking in terms of, well, if we did have a small warfare, it would take place in Europe, and we could learn from each other's mistakes. Meanwhile, we as Europeans were like, hello, excuse me. This is, you know, so it was just a sort of a nightmare Armageddon vision of what Europe would be like. And I just took the old proverb, Red Skies at Night, Shepherd's Delight, you know, always playing with little cliches. It is music after all, you know.
Yeah. Is Two Different Views, is that the first song on the album?
Yeah, Two Different Views.
When that first comes on the album, I mean, it's like, it's undeniably you guys, and it's really a great song.
Yeah.
I think it's an awesome starting song. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Two Different Views was the first song that we wrote together when we started working on the new album. And it was kind of lyrically, it was a way of me saying to the other guys, listen, yeah, we're going to have arguments, but they should be creative. Yeah, we're going to have compromise, but that should be celebrated. Yeah, there's always, you know, two sides to a story, and we should celebrate that. And, you know, then the phrase Two Different Views of the Same Thing came out, and I thought, that's a great hook for a song right there.
Right. How about Going Without?
Going Without, well, Going Without, everybody has been without something or other in a... It doesn't go too close to tell you exactly what you're going without, but if you feel that you've been starved of affection or starved of attention or understanding or lots of things that you go without for periods, it's kind of a little anthem for those moments.
Do you have a favorite song on the new album?
It kind of bounces around. It's like asking if you have a favorite child.
Yeah.
But it's bouncing around between Fatal Shore and Silent House, only because I really enjoy playing them live at the moment, and they're sort of, they ebb and flow like the tide, you know, songs. So.
Right. Tell me about the current tour you're on. Is this a long tour? Are you going worldwide?
Yeah, this tour has pretty much been going for 3 months. You know, we started in the middle of May. We'll be going right the way through to the middle of September in the States. And then we're heading off to Europe in October, and then hopefully around to Australia and the rest of the world. So, you know, you never know. It's just like, go with the wind.
Great.
Go with the wind.
Here's an odd question, but while you're touring, what non-musical things do you do? I mean, you come and do a sound check and then play the night. When you're on tour in a strange place, what do you do to?
Well, when you first hit town, you go off and you get a massage. If there happens to be one right next door to the club, which there is here, I'm feeling great right now. Look for old bookshops, eat.
Okay.
If it's by the beach, you know, you don't have to worry too much there. You can just lie out on the beach. There's so many vast differences between the East Coast and the West Coast of America. You're never far from some kind of treat, either mountains or lakes or, we're a fairly earthy band that way, so we tend to look for the earth as much as possible.
How do you think today's music scene is? What do you think of today's music?
There are some very interesting things around musically today. It's just that it's such a rat race musically that sometimes the most talented people are the most vulnerable, and they're getting lost in a stampede for fame and fortune. And I kind of worry that the real flames and candles of people that should be heard just get trounced because everyone's looking for the new Spice Girls or the new Backstreet Boys or whatever it is. Whatever the moment is, people get fired very quickly in the record business if they don't deliver. So that's a sort of there's no time or patience to develop careers anymore. It's all about the song, soundtrack albums, and boof, good night. I feel that's sad because we've had the privilege and the chance to stick at it for 18 years. Sure, it's been feast and famine, but we've managed to peel away the different layers that it's not just always about cash, it's about our souls, as well. So.
Great answer. Over the years of touring, are there any interesting stories, like a weird pairing, or you just opened up for somebody, or someone opened up for you that was just like laughable today?
Well, there's been so many pairings in the band. When we first came out, we were with the quintessential '80s band, Flock of Seagulls, and by the end of the tour, it was fairly evident that our album was going up and up, and theirs was kind of going down and down. The feathers everywhere on that tour. Great pairings have been. FIXX-Uncut Police was a wonderful tour. I mean, magic every night. I just sit on the side of the stage and watch them play. It's excellent. Weird pairings. We've played with Supertramp, Beach Boys. That was pretty weird. That was pretty weird, I must say. I had a different image of what the Beach Boys were about. And when we saw them playing live, it was a little strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the late '80s, did you guys actually drop out of the business a little bit, or just kind of sit back, or was it more the record company saying? Yeah,
well, we just didn't write commercial music, and from like '87 onwards, we were sort of in the dark phase of our writing. It just didn't suit radio as much. So we did have a couple of minor hits. We would just work in the clubs and the theatres, just doing it our way and feeling the wheels and the weight of our own band on the ground without having to be pepped up with phony nonsense from the business. So it was the first time we really felt ourselves running as a business without taking anything from anybody. And then by '91 we felt that to get out of your contracts you just got to lay low for a while and wait for it to clear out, and then off we go again.
Hey, right.
Okay, and we're using
almost done here.
The two outsides. We're not using center.
Wait till he's done there. You guys ever play this? I think the song was called "The Wish."
Wish, yeah.
Or just Wish. Do you guys ever play that live?
Yeah, we do occasionally.
I always thought that was the greatest song that never really.
Yeah, we recorded an acoustic version of it a couple of months ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, down in Nashville.
Oh, yeah, I always loved that one.
Yeah.
What's in the future for you as a band? You're just going to keep going until...
It's kind of, we live it day to day. We know where we've been. We know where we want to go, but it's just as long as we can keep a handle on where we're at now, it'll pay off in the long term, is that we won't get lost, I hope. Every song that we write kind of has to stir some emotion for guys in the band, and hoping that between the five of us, we've pretty much got our people in general public are feeling at any one given moment. So you just, you fight for your own little space in the crowd.
This is another weird question, but when you go and listen to music or go purchase music, who are you into?
Right now, I've just been listening to a lot of Radiohead. It's got 2 albums out. OK Computer is like really a wonderful record. Jeff Buckley made a wonderful album, Grace, before he died. Got the voice of an angel. I mean, I went to a certain mood. I get off on that. Smashing Pumpkins, I kind of... Recently somebody gave me that album. I like that. I mean, it's very, very strong writing from the guy. Corrigan, great.
Have you heard of any of the newer bands, like heard back from them and they met you or something and said, you guys influenced us?
Yeah. I mean, the other night we were on stage doing a festival with Semisonic and Foo Fighters. And we're doing Red Skies at Night, and I turn around, I look over, you know, we normally get the audience singing Red Skies at Night, I turn over and they're all going, oh, singing away. So it was like, it was really great. So a lot of people have tipped their hats our way occasionally, and you kind of go, thank you very much. Same as other people inspired me, you know, and us as a group. Just it keeps going, it's a cycle.
Who did inspire you as a singer?
God, so many people. David Bowie, Mark Boland, Brian Ferry, David Byrne. Before that, a lot of the Stax things, just people who had emotion in their voice as opposed to just emoting. A lot of the Stax singers, Otis Redding, Curtis Mayfield especially,
Great.
Bob Marley, John Lennon. They're all in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I can think of to ask. Is there anything else you want to say about the new album or any particular songs you want to talk about? Or?
Well, we have a song called Happy Landings. And I know if your audience are sort of up in the air right now, they might want to get a rush out of lyrics because it's definitely a landing thing. You know, you're coming back from different phases in your life. You know, everyone should... It's written from a point of me trying to remind myself I should be a little kinder on myself when you screw up. You're supposed to screw up and learn from mistakes, not just deny that you ever made them. And just come in, kind of touch down and on with your business, you know. And that's what it's about. Happy landings to you.
Great. And then could you just do, for the beginning of the piece, I usually have the artist just look at the camera and say, hi, I'm Cy.
Sure.
The FIXX, thank you for joining me on your flight.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah. Hi there, this is Cy Curnin from the FIXX, and I hope you're having a wonderful flight. Thanks for joining me.
Great. Did I miss anything before we let him go? Anything?
The name of the band?
Oh, yeah, these guys wanted to know how you guys got the name of the band.
Ah, well, the name of the band, the FIXX, came, like I'm sure a lot of other bands' names, is out of a hat. You know, we were just, at the time we had a manager who was saying your name has to show direction. We were like, well, you know, the direction soon follows after, what comes first, chicken and the egg? Could be called anything, so that in a way was the FIXX, or the focus of what our musical attention was about. So the FIXX went in the hat, lo and behold it came out, and that was with one X. Then the record company said put two X's on it, to give it a little bit more artistic balance or whatever. And then we were like, fine, whatever you want to do. I get that guy was paid a lot of money to say that, just stick another X on it. Listen, this is FIXX with one X and FIXX with two X's. Sounds the same to me.
That's great.
All right.
That's great. Thank you very much.
How's it going?
That was perfect.